Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Robert Adams, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Sergeant Jeanette McNeely. This evening, we warmly welcome the family of Private Darcy Richard Nottingham Shaw, whose story will be told shortly. As always, we welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you are able, I now invite you to please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Visitors who are able to do so, you may now be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It could also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations over more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Darcy Richard Nottingham Shaw. Darcy Shaw was born in Bowenville, Queensland on the 25th of November 1897. He was one of 10 children born to railway ganger Thomas and Mary Shaw. The children grew up in the Darling Downs town of Bell and attended Bell State School. At the outbreak of the First World War, Darcy was working as a labourer. On the 28th of September 1915, 17-year-old Darcy enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force with his older brother Francis. The brothers were given the rank of private, allotted to reinforcements of the 15th Battalion, and went into camp at Toowoomba. The boy's older brother George had already enlisted and was serving with the 9th Battalion. After basic training, Darcy and Frank embarked at Brisbane for overseas service on the troop ship Commonwealth. Whilst they were at sea, their older brother George was killed in action near Armentières. Arriving in Alexandria in early May 1916, Darcy was admitted to hospital with mumps for a few weeks. He was taken to hospital at Heliopolis, recovered and returned to his unit a fortnight later. As he rejoined his draft, his brother Frank contracted mumps and was admitted to hospital. It would be some months before the brothers met again. After 2 weeks training in the desert, Darcy and his draft set sail for France. After a short journey, they went into a relatively quiet area of the Western Front known as the Nursery Sector, where new troops could be introduced to trench warfare. Private Darcy Shaw's draft completed further training in drill and bayonet fighting, and finally joined their troop at Niort in late July 1916. Intensive training began, emphasising drill, alignment to objective, grenade throwing, and fast, silent digging. After 2 weeks with his unit, Private Darcy Shaw received his baptism of fire when his battalion went into action at Pozières. Darcy was buried by dirt thrown up from a shell blast, but survived. After days of intense, continuous shelling, on the 8th of August, Private Darcy Shaw was wounded, receiving a gunshot wound to his left wrist. In the single week of fighting at Pozières, the 15th Battalion suffered 48 men killed, 337 wounded, and 45 missing, a casualty rate of nearly 50%. After triage at the casualty clearing station, then a trip to the General Hospital, Private Shaw was evacuated on a hospital ship to England. Admitted to the Western General Hospital in Manchester, after a few months, Darcy Shaw was deemed fit to return to service and given a week's furlough in England. He was then sent to the 4th Training Battalion on Salisbury Plain to refresh his training. After 6 weeks of military drill, bayonet fighting and sports, in early December he crossed the English Channel to return to the front, rejoining his battalion in light snow in January 1917. On the 2nd of February, a party of 220 men and 6 officers attacked enemy positions at Goudencourt, entering the German trenches and taking 50 prisoners. The Germans mounted 2 counterattacks as the men of the 15th retired from their position. Private Darcy Shaw was not amongst them. Initially listed as missing in action, he was later reported as being killed in action. He was 19 years old. Darcy's remains were not located, nor his grave ever found. Today, he is commemorated at the Australian National Memorial at Villa-Bretonneux. His name is listed among 10,000 Australians who died in France during the First World War and have no known grave. Grief for the Shaw family in Queensland was not yet over. George Shaw was killed in action in 1916, Darcy Shaw in 1917, and Frank Shaw in 1918. Darcy Shaw's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, amongst more than 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Darcy Richard Nottingham Shaw, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
If you are able, I now invite you to please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.